Today is January 21st, 2019. Happy Martin Luther King Day. The stench from the midterm elections has subsided, so I won't have to wear this anymore. However, numerous Democrats are lining up to run against Donald Trump, and we are now stuck in a perpetual election cycle. President Trump has not done a very good job of draining the swamp. As H. Rap Brown said, you can say anything you want in America as long as no one is listening. If I went around trying to sell these ideas and people started to listen, the last thing I would see would be headlights in my rearview mirror. When our country was starting out, about 90% of the people were more or less living on a self-sufficient farm, and if people didn't work together, they starved to death. Pretty simple. Therefore, there was not much need for government. The Founding Fathers tended to disfavor political parties. However, when the Constitution was being ratified, there already were the Federalist and Anti-Federalist parties. We now have parties that are more or less coalitions of interest, of some of which are mutually antagonistic to each other. So if you are a Republican, you want to cut taxes and regulations, shrink the government, have a strong military, love the flag and the Constitution, and hate unelected liberal judges. Also, they are for access to guns, state rights, or for state rights, and against abortion. If you are a Democrat, you kind of are opposed to most of that, plus you are for rights for women and various minority groups. To drain the swamp, it will be necessary to amend the Constitution. Once it has been amended, Congress will have to pass laws to drain the swamp. There are 4 ways that this can be accomplished. As a practical matter, the probability of this occurring is the equivalent of me winning the Powerball jackpot 2 times in a row and then having a blue whale fall out of the sky and land on me without causing any injury to the blue whale or myself. The first change would be to amend the Constitution so it would give Congress the power to ban political parties. Once the Constitution was amended to allow Congress to ban political parties should be banned. Therefore, if they were banned, with regards to any particular issue, people could run for office as being for the issue or against the issue. In the recent election, a lot of Republicans were all trying to say things on how they would allow people with pre-existing conditions to be covered by insurance. This was despite the fact that for the previous 7 years, part of the standard Republican stump speech was to repeal and replace Obamacare. Actually, I'm still waiting for Donald Trump to announce what his plan was that was supposed to be better and cheaper than Obamacare. With no compulsion to party loyalty, representatives would be allowed to vote for what is the best for their district or the country, as opposed to what the political bosses tell them. The second change would be to the Constitution would allow for Congress to make laws that would make it so that only people who are eligible or from a particular district be eligible to contribute to campaign contributions. And then Congress would have to pass laws to make that happen. During the last election, I received these in the mail. These are two examples of why there shouldn't be out-of-state money in politics. The first is a flyer for Kevin Nicholson, who is running for U.S. Senate as a Republican in Wisconsin, although he did not get the nomination. And where is this sent from? Restoration PAC, 1901 Butterfield Road, Suite 120, Downers Grove, Illinois. And here is a mailing from Malin Mitchell. He was running in the primary for Democrat for Wisconsin. And let's see where this one came from. 1750 New York Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C. Why people in Illinois and Washington, D.C. would have an interest in a state of Wisconsin election strikes me as wrong. The third change to the Constitution would be to allow Congress to have the power to require candidates who advocate for tax cuts to tell what programs they would cut, what other taxes they would raise, what other level of government would have to make up for the tax cut, why the tax cut will increase revenue, or where the money to make up for the tax cut will be borrowed from and how it will be paid back. In addition, if anyone proposes new spending on a new program or an existing program, they will have to tell where the money was going to come from to pay for that program. Congress would then pass legislation to accomplish that. Final constitutional amendment would be to allow Congress to ban all political polling. Then Congress would pass such legislation. With big data in the campaigns, they are now able to tailor their message to various people. During the 2016 campaign, I heard someone from Ted Cruz campaign say that they had put people into one of 17 categories using big data. If you listen to the various political ads, they are geared to saying what the polls have told the politicians that the people want to hear. With these 4 changes to the Constitution and the legislation for the reform, we the people could once again be in charge of running our government.